Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Shiva De Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Shiva De Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Shri Radhe Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ki Shri Shri Gauranathai ki Anta Kori Vaishnavanda ki. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Prabhupada ki jai. So we're continuing our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, verse 49. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Vayati Naishtiki. So verse 49. Viduropi parityaja Viduropi parityaja Prabhashe deham atmanaha Prabhase deham atmanaha Krishna Vishena Tachitta Krishna Vishena Tachitta Prithvi Swakshayam Yayo Prithvi Shasayam Yayo Viduropi Parityaya Prabhase deham atmanaha Krishna Vishena Chachitta Prithvi Swakshayam Sham Yayo Viduropi Parityaja Deham atmanaha Krishna Vishena Chachitta Atmayam Yayo Parityaya Sevayam Atmanaha Krishna Veshena Chitta Svitrabiya Sayam Yayo Viduropi Parityaya Ritse Deham Atmanaha Krishna Veshena Chachitta Pritrabi Swashayam Yayo. Mataji, want to try? Viduropi Parityaja Prabhase deham atmanaha Krishna Veshena Chachitaha Pitrabhi Swamyaha. So word for word. Vidura, the uncle of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Api, also. Parityaja, after quitting the body. Prabhase, in the place of pilgrimage of Prabhasa. Deham Atmanaha, his body. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aveshena, being absorbed in the thought. Tat, his. Chittaha, thoughts and actions. Pitrubhi, along with the residents of Pitraloka. Swashayam, his own abode. Yo, departed. Translation purport by Sri Bhakti Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki. While on pilgrimage, Vidura, while on pilgrimage, left his body at Prabhasa because he was absorbed in thought of Krishna. Because he was absorbed in thought of Krishna, he was received by the denizens of the Pitraloka planet, where he returned to his original post. Purport. The difference between Pandavas and Vidura is that Pandavas are eternal associates of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas Vidura is one of the administrative demigods in charge of the Pitraloka planet and is also known as Yamaraj. Men are afraid of Yamaraj because it is he who also awards punishment for the miscreants of the material world. But those who are devotees of the Lord have nothing to fear from him. To the devotees, he is a cordial friend, but to the non-devotees, he is fear personified. As we have already discussed, it is understood that Yamaraj was cursed by Mandaka Muni to be degraded as a Sudra, and therefore Vidura was an incarnation of Yamaraj. As an eternal servitor of the Lord, he displayed his devotional activities very ardently and lived a life of a pious man. So much so that the materialistic men like Dhritarashtra also got salvation by his instructions. So by his pious activities in the devotional service of the Lord, he was able to always remember the lotus feet of the Lord. And thus he became washed of all contaminations of the Sudra-born life. At the end, he was again received by the denizens of Pitraloka and posted in his original position. The demigods are also associates of the Lord without personal touch. The demigods are also associates of the Lord without personal touch, whereas the direct associates of the Lord are in constant personal touch with him. The Lord and his personal associates incarnate in many universes without cessation. The Lord remembers them all, whereas associates forget due to their being very minute part and parcels of the Lord. They are apt to forget such incidents of being infinitesimal. This is collaborated in Bhagavad Gita 4.5. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Takshurum Militam Yena Dasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stvapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Charitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone. So in this we're coming to the end of the chapter of the Pandavas retiring timely. Interesting, from Yudhishthira Maharaj, there's one verse which talks about Vidura Mahatma, him leaving the body in Prabhasa, in the thought of Krishna, always meditating on Krishna. So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions about the difference between Pandavas and Vidura. Pandavas being the personal associate of the Lord, they incarnate with him in every place they go. Lord incarnates his pastimes, but Vidura, who is like administrative demigod, he has been put in this position just because of the curse that he got from Mandaka Muni. Just to touch it short in terms of context, like Mandaka Muni was a very great sage. He for no reason of his fault, what happened is like he was just in his ashram,
and there were thieves who were actually trying to hide from the soldiers of the king. So they came in and hid in his ashram without his knowledge. But then when they were caught, Mandaka Muni was also taken away with them, and they were actually supposed to be punished. And the punishment was, I think, putting a spear through their backside, all through the coming out of the head. So in the purport, previous Prabhupada says that before it could happen, the king came to know his position, and then he actually asked forgiveness. But then such a big personality that he wanted to know, like, why was that? Even if he had to go through the distress of that supposed to be happen. So he went back to Yamaloka, and then he had questioned Yamaraj, and Yamaraj, who was in his post, said that because when you're small, you pierce a small insect or ant with a straw of grass through its whole body. So because of that, you were supposed to get the punishment as such. But anyway, he didn't get it. But he was really upset or angry. So he's like, how can that happen? How can a kid who did something unknowingly, within innocence, be given such a punishment? So this is very irrational or illogical. And then he had so much power that he cursed Yamaraj that because you're not giving the right punishments or giving the right justice, you have to be taken born as a Sudra in the material world. Now think about somebody having a post, and if you do something wrong, and the citizen or the people under you are more powerful than you, that they can curse you and take you away from your post. It's such a pious and such a enlightened society that existed then, that even the leaders have to be really careful in how they actually administer justice. Yeah. So again, like that gave a I think even in the pastime of Damodar Leela, where Narada Muni curses Nalakuvera and Manigriva, any curse from a sadhu is the best blessing that we can get. And Vidura had the opportunity to be born in the family of Krishna, and then have personal association with Krishna, and then end of his life, he actually left with Krishna, with thinking about Krishna. And Yamaraj, as we know, is one of the 12 Mahajans, one of the 12 authorities on devotional service. So, just to give a comparison, how the difference between these two, like, for us, we came into this material world because we are marginal energy. We are not we don't belong to the internal energy, which is Tataksa Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, but we are on the Tatakta Shakti, or like the Bahiranga Shakti, which is the marginal external energy. Now, we are actually superior to matter, to material energy. And as we know, like, what happens when somebody is superior and you see some subordinates? The natural intention, or natural intention in the material world, is to get to exploit them, right? Give him all the work, or like make him run here and there, get the work done through him, so that your job is finished. So that is the mentality of the material nature. So when we come in touch with the material nature, or the external energy, which is actually inferior, we tend to exploit, if you're not in the right consciousness. That's why we see nowadays, like, so much exploitation is happening of the natural resources. Because if we actually see that the natural resources in this world is actually Krishna's, then we wouldn't actually exploit them or mistreat them. Everything, like the vegetation, the water, the rain, the ecosystem that exists, everything is well planned. Like, I was there in my office when we had the orientation. Like, there was one family which came, who were doing farming bees, and they produce bees. Now, they did so much research, and they said that if the bee, just like a very insignificant creature, if the bee doesn't if the bee becomes extinct in this world, the whole ecological system will fail. And for us, it's like, what would a bee mean to me? If the bee exists or doesn't exist, doesn't matter to me. But then Krishna or Brahma, through the instructions through Brahma, is created this whole material universe, so much precision. The way from the bees to the birds to the oceans, they actually are quite interconnected. Now we would be thinking, like, what's the connection between the bird that's flying like 100 feet in the air to an organism that's actually 100 lives down in the ocean in the bottom of the ocean? But they are quite interconnected. They all work together for the running of this material world. But because we don't see them as Krishna's energy, we try to exploit them, not knowing the adverse effects that we can get. Now, this doesn't happen just by chance, because we actually choose to be away from Krishna. Now, what happens is, the first time as souls, as Tathagata Shakti, which is a marginal energy, when we look at the material energy, which is superior, which is inferior to us, we get that idea of enjoying. That causes the first layer of the false ego. That is the first identity of false ego. Now, actual nature of the soul is to serve. But then when the soul sees that material nature and sees to exploit it, that's just the identity is created, that I can enjoy it. And then what happens? Then the planning comes in how to enjoy. Like, just because you want to enjoy, like let's say just because you want to go to Switzerland or Europe, doesn't mean like you're going to enjoy. So you got to plan for it. How am I going to enjoy there? Which restaurant am I going to stay? Which place am I going to visit? So what happens is the intelligence plans for that. So the whole planning happens. That's where the intelligence comes in. Now, once the intelligence comes in, then how do we actually kind of execute them? That happens through the mind. The mind actually flows through the emotions, and then through the senses we kind of interact with the material nature, and then we enjoy it. Now, it's so hard to understand that how that we actually, from a pure state, we just come to this state where we actually kind of exploit a thing which has no life. Because if we consider the state that we were originally in Krishna Golok Vrindavan, we did interacted with all those with nature and everything, but all those nature and everything had life in it. Everything had life in it. Now we're doing the same thing here, but then nothing has life in it. So we interact with mobile phones, which doesn't have any life of its own. We interact with cars, which doesn't have any life on its own. We interact with so many other all the things that we actually derive joys of material nature, which has no life. So how did our consciousness come down to it? Because we forgot about Krishna. That's what Krishna says here. Some of the associates, they do come every time, but some of other people who actually have interacted with me, they forgot. Right? And even the associates also forget, because Krishna remembers everything. Every time they change their body, they tend to forget. But Krishna remembers, and that's why he brings them along. Now, the only way to get out of it, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, is Devi Esha Gunamai, Mama Mama Duraktiya. He says this energy is my energy. So you can't basically just think that you're smart enough to overcome it. Only way is like Manmana Bhavabhakto, Madhya Jivam Namaskuru. He says, offer obeisance to me, think about me, and worship me. Now, there is an example where it is said that, yes, it is a really hard energy to pass. But then, if you think about owner, and when you're just standing outside the gate, and let's see, he has some 3 big dogs there, which is more of goodness, passion, and ignorance. When you try to enter his property, those dogs will bark like anything, and you're literally scared to even put your foot in there. But then when the master comes out, hearing the sound of the dogs barking, and he says that, "Shh, quiet, all the three dogs who have looked really ferocious and just waiting to be pounced and eat all your flesh, just becomes like puppies, just becomes like the most innocent animal in the whole world, and they just sit down, and then the master will say, come in, no problem now, and then you walk in, they don't do anything. So that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. These three modes are like so fearsome, you can't actually imagine defeating them. But then when the master sees that, oh, he's in my party, why are we even disturbing him? And he asks them to keep quiet, they just keep quiet. So that is the only way by which we can actually cross the ocean of birth and death. Now for that, we just have to understand what the goal is. If our goal is basically going back to Godhead, then Prabhupada has given us so much facility in terms of through the vehicle of the equipment of sadhana bhakti. He's given so much variety to do service. It's not that there is any limitation of service. Whenever I talk to Ghanshyam Prabhu, he says like, I think this one lifetime is not enough to do all the services. We might have to come multiple lifetimes. Like even in multiple lifetimes, we have so much service to do. So we are actually fortunate because Prabhupada's mercy is so outstanding because he understood, because previous to Prabhupada's times, even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati started it, but then before that, people always had this idea that spiritual life or devotional life is a very static life. There's nothing you can do. It's all about being inertia. Just sit in one place, go to one place, go to Vrindavan, go to Mayapur, or go to Mathura and then settle there. Like, not do anything, just think about Krishna. But Prabhupada saw that that's not the way people work here. In material world, people are full of passion. They want to achieve something. They want to engage their senses. Without engaging them, there's no point that they can stay for a long time in anything. So Prabhupada gave that knowledge of a sadhana bhakti, but also gave so much service so that we can actually keep doing that and challenging ourselves, and also feel that satisfaction that we're actually doing it for Krishna. So that is something that we can never forget from what Prabhupada gave. And the only thing we can do for Prabhupada is like focus on our service, because no matter how much service we do, if the focus goes away, then we can tend to deviate from the path. So when you're even like, you might be an expert driver, you might have been driving for 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, but then or a split moment, if you actually don't focus on the road, what happens? Anything can happen. And that moment doesn't take into consideration how much time, how much kilometers you've done previously, how much experience you were, and how much, even you could be the instructor, but then you can still face danger. So that is what happens in material world. So we just have to be a little bit more cautious and careful when we do devotional service, that we actually, like I think Devakinandan Prabhu explained quite in detail on the weekends, how when you do service to Krishna, it's the motive that's more important, if I can put it in one sentence. If you don't have the right motive, and even if you do service, then it's only going to aggravate your desire for name and fame and recognition. So we just have to be a little bit more careful. Now, what I wanted to touch in today's thing is, Vidura was actually cursed to become a son of a Sudra, right? If you know the history of Mahabharata. So he was basically, literally, he was a brother to Dhritarashtra and Pandu, but he was not to take the throne as such. He was not eligible to have the throne. But the thing that I want to push through is like, birth is just one thing, but it doesn't matter. What we make out of it is what matters. So you can be born in any situation of life, on any part of the world, but what you make of it is is totally up to you. Now we have so many examples in Bhagavatam where Prahlad Maharaj was born as a demon family, but he's a pure devotee. To somebody who's like the son of Krishna becoming a demon. So it's not anything to do with fate. It's we create our own destiny, and it is up to us. Now again, from a non-devotee side, them coming to Krishna consciousness is one thing, but I just want to touch on another side of it. Sometimes devotees feel that what they go into a point where it becomes an identity crisis. Even when you're following devotional service, doing the sadhana bhakti, they tend to sometimes get into this mindset. What am I? What is my service to Srila Prabhupada? Like I'll just touch on a personal experience. Like with due respects to His Grace Amarendra Prabhu, when he came and when some of the devotees, when I had my chat, they said like, "Prabhu, our lectures was too inspiring. It's very inspiring. I don't know. I'm not at that stage. I feel so inspired, but I don't know what to do." Right? So it's nice to be inspired, right? But we have to understand our own nature, right? Like for example, I've seen sometimes when people go to seminar on Tulsi, on worshipping Tulsi, they suddenly start worshipping Tulsi, and then after that they go to a seminar about the glories of Govardhan, and then they suddenly want to worship Govardhan, and then suddenly when they do go to a seminar about Vaishnava etiquette, then they're like, oh God, this all is not important. Having a good relationship with devotees is more important. They focus all the energy. There are different aspects of spiritual life. But then we have to understand what is our nature. And everybody can't be someone else. Krishna says like it's better to do your duty properly rather than do someone's duty. Better to do your duty imperfectly rather than to do somebody else's duty perfectly. So we have to understand from ourselves that what is our strength and what is our weakness. And if I sit here and think about, okay, I need to give class like some other devotee whom I'm inspired. I want to give a class like that. It's never going to happen, and I will end up being a failure no matter what. Like there is this saying that if it's fish judges its in its capacity to climb a tree, then the fish is a failure the whole of his life, right? The fish has its strength, the frog has its strength, the crocodile has its strength, the bird has its strength, the monkey has strength, everything is different. So we as community, we have to basically think where we fit in. And that is a very personal thing that you have to know. The reason I brought up the bee thing is, see, bees are just an insignificant thing, but if they don't function, do their duty properly, the whole ecosystem will be collapsed. So how we serve Krishna is very important, and if we understand that integral part, then everything will work perfectly, and we will be peaceful. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, when there is no peace, how can there be happiness? So you can actually run behind, I need to be happy. If I do this service, I'll be happy. If I do this service, I'll be happy. But until and unless we are actually content, we are content with what we are doing, we cannot spread the happiness. And it's very easy for people to find out whether you're happy or not happy. But if you're just doing a very menial service, and then the gratitude for doing that service gleams in your face, then people can basically recognize like this person is happily situated in his service. So that is what we want. So we don't want to be someone just for the sake of getting name, fame, or recognition. I think that's what Devakanandan Prabhu said. We don't want to just for the sake of name, fame, and recognition do something else which is not coming naturally to us. And in one of the retreats where Kalmakana Maharaj was saying, he was talking about this oasis. Like he said, if you want to be happy in Krishna consciousness, you have to find your oasis in the desert of material world. If you actually find your spot, and there's something that you can do, no matter nobody recognizes or nobody even considers or nobody even appreciates you, but you are happy just doing that, they said that is a service that can actually keep you in Krishna conscious forever. Because that is one service that you don't expect somebody to actually recognize. So it's up to us to understand what is that service. Because here Vidura is born as a Shudra, in the womb of a Shudra. But then if Vidura thought like, I have to be like Arjun, then he's not doing his part in the right way. But he did his part in the most auspicious way, and then he's going back to Godhead. And Arjuna and the Pandavas did their service to Krishna, and they're going to Godhead as well. So we are all basically going back to Godhead. But we are actually going back in different routes. And in each route there is still Krishna wants Krishna. We are actually pleasing Krishna in different ways. So I would like to conclude saying that as devotees, please, we have to introspect on what is the service that I can do for Krishna, which I can actually happily do no matter what. And if we find that service, then it'll actually keep us in Krishna conscious for the rest of our life until we reach Krishna face to face. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions, comments? Grantraj, yes.
Just remembering Prabhupada when he said that all the devotees should be trained in doing all the services.
Yes.
So I recently discussed this matter, which is choosing services,
Hmm.
not choosing services, and what should be given and how should be our attitude
Yeah.
with receiving service. When Prabhu was guiding, he said that you should master one service,
Yeah.
one main service, but you should know how to do everything. This is a training movement.
Yeah.
We train people in the outcome.
Yeah. I'll just repeat. So Pratham Prabhu is saying that how Prabhupada said you have to master all service, and when Pratham Prabhu was asking about the guidance, he was said that you have to master one service, but you should be able to do all other services when it's required. Yeah, that's true, because that is the service which gives us the heart content, but we have to be a well-rounded devotee, trying to put our service in wherever it's needed. Yeah, that's good, Prabhu. Thanks for that. So, Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.